So we've been in our Airstream over 2.5 years. We're starting our 5th year full-time RV living. We're not experts on this, but we're gonna attempt to cover 7 tips for decluttering in a small space. And we gotta cut to some B-roll. First tip would be the best way to organize or declutter is to eliminate. So this is our donate box. So we keep, what, 1 or 2 of these with us in the van at all times.
A lot of times I'll go through our kids' clothes. I mean, kids outgrow clothes so fast. And I'm realizing they're not using this, they're not wearing that. Even with me, I realize I haven't wore that and I gotta get it out. Or Nathan will find things laying around all the time and he's like,
things disappear.
Yes, but
they don't disappear. Yes, this is our middle ground.
They just go into the donate box. And it's just a place to put it. And a lot of times for me, I have a hard time letting go of things, and sometimes I'll keep stuff in the donate box even 2 rounds. Nathan always lets me look through it. That's kind of our deal, is like, I want to look through the boxes before everything gets donated. And sometimes I even put them back in the box and I'm like, I just need to think about it for another round. And usually I end up donating after that, but I just need that time. Yeah. If that makes sense. I just need that time to like let go. And I know that may sound crazy to somebody like Nathan who doesn't.
I don't get emotionally attached to, like, she gets emotionally attached to t-shirts and shoes, and she's like, I wore those shoes there. I got that t-shirt there. I'm like, it's a t-shirt. Like,
I'm like, that's still good. We might use it.
And my thing is, you want to own what you love, not necessarily what's on sale. So I think we both grew up like looking for things that are on sale, finding a deal, but then those things just sat around. So many things with tags on them that are brand new.
I'll even be trying something on, or you know, looking through kids' clothes, and I'm like, do I love this? Or if you have a large space, not having to dig through things that you don't love to get to the things you do. It's such a time saver to really just have those items that you really love. Tip number 2 is a place for everything, and everything has a place. Do you know how many times I've heard that from this guy? Once or twice, which is a concept that I guess I struggled with and I'd never heard. I'm really bad about using something and not putting it back, and probably because I didn't know what to do with it or where it went. But once you create a space for that item and you always know where it goes, 1, you can put it away as soon as you use it because you know exactly where it goes back. And number 2, you're not always looking for everything. Like, where is that? Where did I put that? Because it always has its place.
So I think the way this works and what's so hard is it's a lot of mental energy up front. And it also forces you, before you buy something, to ask, do I have a place for this when I get back? Because maybe like you only got so much room, something has to leave in order for that to come in. So, and
sometimes I find that something's worth it. I could think in my head, okay, I like this better than what I have, and you can replace it, but that's also very hard to make myself get rid of something, so sometimes I won't even do it. So especially when you buy an RV, sometimes the spaces are like cavernous. I'm not gonna say there's like a lot of cavernous spaces here in the Airstream, but there are some spaces we felt like could be laid out a little better for us to have a place for stuff. So in the bedroom, of course, this lifts up and we can get to everything once we lift it up. We got drawers all the way around the side, and this isn't stock. We added these to create separation between the different items to make it easier to get to have it, you know, have a place. But the concept too is, like, when everything starts to have a place, you want things you access the most to be the easiest to get to. So things like this that we don't access as much, the Legos and stuff like that, are kind of back in there, versus like this drawer, if Marissa needs to, even with the bed down, she can open that drawer and get to that stuff with it all separated out. So just really trying to avoid the cavernous areas. You know, in here I've got shelves. When you can add shelves, that's good. In the kitchen, these aren't cavernous, but they're a very strange space. So. Well, stuff will definitely get lost in the back, you know, and so especially with this curve, it takes away a lot of your storage. So anything that you can use to kind of be able to.
So these, yeah, these are long and they make it all the way back, and you can still pull them out and get to everything in the curve. And we're losing, that's the thing, like we're losing some space because of this curve, but we're trying to make the most of it. Stuff over here plates, bowls, all that kind of thing in there. Silverware, other stuff. We also do a concept called clear the room, as far as like everything having a place. And like at that point, like Hensley knows when it's bedtime, like I say, Hensley, you need to clear the room. She gets all of her stuff. Again, it's all got a place. So she takes her stuff. It's in a perfect world. It does not go nearly this easily, but she, with me helping and me coaxing and me reminding her where it goes and all that, she gets her stuff, she puts it up, she clears the room. Same thing if we're leaving or if we're going to bed and we try to clear a room. Clearing the room, all it means is all the stuff goes back to its place.
That was a hard concept for me in the beginning, because usually when we're leaving to go somewhere, I'm like, we're in a hurry, we gotta go. This stuff can just stay out. But since we've been doing that, I've really enjoyed it, because it's really nice, like coming back to a clean house and not everything kind of destroyed. And I don't know if other people feel this way. Is this weird of me? I would hate for somebody to break in my house and find it this way. So a lot of times I like to clear the room and have my house clean in case somebody breaks in.
That's right. You, sir, have a clear path to easily find all of our stuff.
I would hate for them to walk in and be like, what happened here? So, yes.
So tip number 3, I don't know if these are tips, maybe struggles, concepts, I don't, but it's called touch it once. And so I think the biggest thing this applies to, and because Marissa does laundry, probably applies to her a lot. So when it comes to laundry, I mean, I get it. You've packed up the laundry, sometimes we've hauled the laundry to a laundromat, you've wrestled with these machines trying to get the quarters to go in, you've maybe like waited your turn or wondered, is somebody gonna take my laundry, and whatever, you've gone through all that, you've washed the clothes, you bring them back, you have it in the bag, they're done, and it's like, you really just want to leave it in the bag.
I do.
Yeah, you don't want to have to mess with putting it all away, because you've done all that work. But the thing is, or the other thing too, like you just dump the bag out and get what you need as you need it.
Yeah.
but what happens is, and this is the touch it once, like at that point, once you dump it and start going through it, and you've already touched it once trying to go through it, now you gotta take the time. Every time you want something, that pile just kind of stays there and grows or does whatever it does. And then you gotta touch it again and go through it again to find your stuff.
If you say I'll put it up later, you've already got your hand on it. So a lot of times
when you're in a hurry, like you're leaving for the day and you're in a hurry and you're getting ready and you take your clothes off.
You just throw them off and lay them down. You're like, I'll pick it up later. Like you've already got your hands on it. So I have to tell myself that all the time. Like just touch it once, be done with it. But I do really struggle with that, and mostly I struggle with it, like you were talking about with laundry, is because if something doesn't have a place, if something is over full or something like that, then I feel like I don't know where to put it, so then I keep struggling with it.
Which kind of leads into tip number 4, which is you want to have 20% cushion. I was a full-time youth minister for like 7 years, and one of the things we would keep track of, whether it's a youth event or like Sunday morning services, is like once your regular crowd starts to get over 80%, like you're over capacity, which doesn't really make sense. You're like, and sometimes you look around, you're like, there's all these empty seats. Why is 80% capacity? Well, it's because everybody wants to sit in the back, or everybody wants to sit on the edges. They don't want to scoot into the aisles. So once you start getting over 80%, and people are forced to shuffle around, to scoot in, to move up closer, you know, and so you always want to keep that capacity under 80%. And it works like that with your stuff too. If anything like overfull, we can show on camera. Like,
oh yeah, tons of stuff.
Okay, so case in point. We're not pros at all this.
Do what I say, not what I do.
All right, let's do a case in point here.
Clothes again are definitely the hardest thing for me. Clothes. That's just my hardest struggle. Even with, this is all Hensley and JJ stuff. So poor JJ gets one drawer down here right now, and so like his drawer is like, I have folded and moved, and this is the new stuff and tried, but it's just like
and sometimes even like she like, Nathan, the drawer won't close anymore, and it's because the clothes get jammed back in behind here and they keep the drawer from even closing. So really like 2 reasons you want to keep it 80% or less. One is like it just makes it easier to get stuff. I mean, once it starts getting too full, every time you're trying to get something out, you're moving stuff around, or when you pull something out, like something falls out with it, you're taking time to pick that up, or something gets lost back in here. And then the second reason is, like, we're always, I mean, Hensley grows, JJ changes, maybe Marissa finds something she loves. If you're wanting to buy something and add it in there and you're already at 100%, with 80%, you've got some cushion. If you buy something, you know, and then you still go through later and maybe get it back down, but.
And that's why I struggle putting things away, is because I'm like, oh, there's no more room, so I leave it out and I touch it over and over and over because I don't have a space for it. So we do really good and we start eliminating and then it sneaks back in. So it's good sometimes just to go through your stuff and declutter and de-eliminate, and it feels good. It takes a weight off your shoulders.
De-eliminate. Is that any word?
De-eliminate?
De-eliminate.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not?
De-eliminate. Sure, I like it.
Eliminate. Declutter and eliminate all in one word.
That's how we do it. That's how we roll in Tennessee.
It is. It's efficient.
It's not efficient, just efficient. So like fish in, but I don't know. Tip number 5, square is king.
This is an 8 cubic fridge, which took a little adjusting.
And this is pretty standard. Most of your RVs are gonna have this size fridge.
Buying these square containers have really helped. Even square storage containers, because
and these are Ziplocs, I think.
Yeah, so I can fit 4 there, a couple of the big ones there for like leftovers or food prep.
And it seems like a small thing, but look at your round stuff up here, like how less efficient, which you can't do anything. Some of your stuff's just gonna be round. But man, once we realized we could go square, and then you know what they say, once you go square, you'll never that doesn't even make sense. Yeah, but man, stores so much more versus like if we got one big thing like the way this is made, where something big is supposed to sit right here. Like, that'd be it. That'd take the spot of 4 of these. Back up here again, these aren't perfectly square. I probably need to replace them with the other ones that have rounded edges, but they're still kind of square. And they let us, instead of maybe something round, like over here's a lot of round stuff. It's just not nearly as efficient. Tip number 6 would be protect the flat. And what I mean by that is, so like when you walk into someone's home or a space, whether it's a van or it's a 3,000 square foot house, sometimes a place feels roomy, it feels spacious, it feels, you know, just comfortable. And then sometimes it feels like cramped up and crowded. And what that is, usually, at least to me, is like, look at the flat space. So if the floor is clear, the flat space is clear, it feels bigger. If the countertops are clear, it feels bigger. But if stuff is on the floor, if stuff is on the countertop, I don't know what it is about our brain. Like, for some reason, when things are on the wall, I don't know about the ceiling. Anyways, we don't put much on the ceiling, but if things are on the wall, doesn't have as much of an effect on our brain as the flat space. So in here, we protect that flat space at all costs. Any flat space we have, we really try to keep it clear and try to have as much of it as possible. And so this is like our multi-purpose. Hensley does our arts and crafts, we eat here, we do all that. We try to keep this clear as much as possible. And so the way we keep that as flat as possible is we're always moving stuff up and on the wall and out of the way. Hang our keys up here.
This is kind of double because it has our food storage, but it also keeps it off the counter and out of the way by our hanging basket.
You can sort of expand your flat space by having these fold down tables. So this folds up, this folds up, this folds down up. My workspace, this folds up. We have these magnets on the wall in a few places where you can just, like, you know, get it off the flat space, put it on the wall if you need to. In the shower, we've done a few different things. So we've got, this is like our soap, shampoo, all that kind of stuff dispenser. A couple of these to hold some of the stuff. Again, just getting it off that floor space. You know, we've got this space down here, but instead I Velcro all my stuff on the back to get it on the wall, get it out of the way.
And it doesn't mean you can't have anything on the space. I know Nathan and I have to compromise because he would want absolutely nothing out, but I want it to look like somebody lives here and give it a woman's touch. So just having like something that's even simple, bring some greenery in, but keep it very minimal. That's kind of our compromise. And our last tip is make as many things as dual purpose as possible. When we were creating this space in our Airstream and we decided to take the dinette out to give us more open floor space, we needed something for storage was our issue, because I had thought about doing a bar here at first and just having like a flat bar with stools, but then we're like, we need the extra storage, but we need seating. So we thought, why not create a spot that is dual purpose, that has seating and storage. So we created one that flips up for our trash can, And then this stool is
Hey, buddy.
some extra storage. So instead of like bulky, you know, cereal boxes, we store everything here. We even store Hensley's like, this is her Play-Doh or her toys, just anything. This is those odds and ends kind of box there. So just keeping everything organized, but also using it as seating. So it's like your pantry, but our extra guest seating as well.
Yeah, you can sit on your pantry. We also don't have like room for a lot of specialized items. Like, I mean, we wouldn't mind having a juicer. We wouldn't mind. I mean, they make like well, like an apple slicer where you can just take it and push it down on the apple.
I wanted one of those like pineapple that takes the core out of the pineapple.
Yeah, so yeah, there's the only time you're using that is when you're taking the core out of a pineapple, which is seasonal, which might not be, you know, it's like what, once a month for us, maybe once every 2 months. In a small space, you look for things that do a very good job. They're very high quality, but you don't have as much of it. So like we keep a good knife, that's our pineapple slicer. So this is a fish spatula. You can mix just a little bit with this. We do have a whisk, but if needed, you can whisk with this as well. You can flip things. You can actually cut chicken, not steak and things that are super tough, but you can cut chicken and things like that.
Sausages,
stuff like that with it on the, and I can sharpen this edge too if I need to. So to protect the flat, instead of having this on the counter, we've actually got it mounted to the wall as a sanitizer dispenser. Marissa always wanted a Berkey, which I'm not against, but the Berkey, guess where it has to sit? On a flat space. So you're taking up that flat surface, and they look good. But so instead
they're pretty shiny.
Yes. But instead of doing that, we got an Activa water filter, that fit into the hole we already had for a water dispenser here. It's LED filtered.
I will admit, it's been nice having to have that not take up the extra space, because our counter space is so valuable.
Just in here it'd be tough.
Yeah, that's been a really good thing for the Airstream.
You know, something as simple as this covers our stove and it's flat, but it can fold up and we have the stove underneath it. Some of these you'll see they kind of come up and curve over, and that's just a pain. It doesn't give you that continual flat surface that we prefer for a counter space. You know, you're the reason for a lot of this organized.
He's so little, but he comes with so much stuff, don't you?
Those are our 7 tips for decluttering in a small space. If you've got tips, definitely share those in the comments. We are a work in progress with all this stuff, but these are like...
I think that was something that surprised me though. I assumed when we did our first downsize and purged into the RV, I thought it would kind of be a one and done. Like we'd downsize and then we'd never have to go through it again. I don't know why it never crossed my mind that it was a muscle that you constantly have to work, and no matter what space you're in, you're always having to downsize and declutter. I saw a quote one time that said you spend your whole life buying things, and then when you get older you spend the rest of your time getting rid of things. And it's very true.
Yeah,
like your whole life you just like accumulate, and then you get older and you're like, now what? Now I gotta get rid of all the things that I've spent my whole life storing. So
if you got other tips, let us know in the comments. Till next time, we'll see. We'll catch you guys later.
We'll catch you guys later.
So that's not what you're... no. Okay. We'll catch you guys later. Is that good? Is that good? Any other poses?
I think overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed's better than that?
Overwhelmed.
Like, we really like our stuff. We're like...
Like, really like it.